The following program is presented by the Metropolitan Library Service Agency.
Hello, welcome to All About Kids, a program focusing on the interests of children and young people and some of the issues affecting them. Our guest today, local musician and troubadour Larry Long, will talk about how he introduces music to children. He'll sing some of the songs that he and students in schools around the state have co-written.
Sit by your shore, your never-ending waters makes me feel very small, wishing I were bigger. Big lake, big lake, big freshwater ocean.
Thank you, Larry. Nice way to start off the program. Welcome here today. The song was Big Lake, and I understand you wrote that in cooperation with some students along the North Shore of Lake Superior between Two Harbors and Duluth. And I'd like to get into some more of your cooperative writing efforts with students here in a minute. I know you've been traveling around for nearly a decade with schools and working with kids. But I want to start off with kind of a broader concept. Is music really an effective way to reach the kids today? And do kids view music as a tool of communication?
I think it's really centered to the culture of young people. And I find when I go into schools, we write songs together collectively. So I have the students gather their own thoughts and their own visions, and we put that to music and we sing it. It's extremely powerful, especially when the students can take full ownership of the material that we create together.
Well, describe the process you go through. Do you get them to kind of get involved listening to music first before you get them involved in the songwriting process? Or what's the kind of
Well, what we really do is on the first day we get together and we gather thoughts, and I'll put up sheets of butcher paper up on the wall, and whatever the students are thinking, we'll write that down. And so everybody's thoughts goes up on the board, on the paper, then it's all owned collectively by the entire class. And so from that they begin to see what they're thinking, and then from what they think we create from it. Kind of generally we work on the lyrics, and I'll create the melodies. On certain occasions there'll be certain students that will have a melody that they want us to write from, but kind of generally I work with the word, and from that we create the lyrics.
Do all the kids really get involved? Is it really a whole team concept?
It's an entire team concept. And I mean, matter of fact, I request from the teachers that I don't really want to know about the history of any of the students. I just want to come in with a clean slate. And quite often the teachers will say, it's amazing because so-and-so over here, they haven't been attentive all year, or they haven't been writing, or they haven't been reading, and those are the students that take the biggest interest. Mm-hmm. Because through music and the arts, really it brings out, I think kind of the best of all the participants.
Do the kids see music as being an effective way to promote certain values or certain cultural issues? I know you have some good examples that we'll get into, but in general, do they find that music is a good outlet for communication?
I think it's absolutely, it's just one of the strongest. I mean, for me personally, I mean, as a troubadour and somebody who's been traveling around the world for a long time, I just think it's the people's culture, and the culture that people will endure as long as it's allowed to surface, and even if it's not allowed, be it through different forms of political repression or cultural, you'll find that people will create. It's part of the very being here, and so it's the very center. Like, for example, last January, so I was working with students of Martin Luther King, and we were reading all of his speeches. It was junior high students, and from Martin Luther King's speeches, we wrote this one song, "I Don't Believe in Violence." And this song was written the week that the war broke out in the Persian Gulf. And really what the song is about, it was based upon respect for Martin Luther King's vision, his spirituality, but it became even a stronger statement because it was right when we were in the midst of war.
And this was written with students from the Stillwater?
From Stillwater Junior High.
The junior high.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you might sing that for us.
I'll sing that for you. It still holds up. Matter of fact, I sing this all over the country. Someone strikes, I won't strike back. If they strike again, I will not attack. I'd rather talk than hear bones crack. I don't believe in violence. Streets are filled with gang warfare. Some people don't mind, they just don't care. When children get killed, it's never fair. I don't believe in violence. Talk of war in the news. Iraq, Lithuania, Palestine too. It will all come back to me and you. I don't believe in violence. Nuclear missiles and tomcats, poison gas, oil spills in M1 tanks. I don't believe in violence. Jumping off buildings just like flies. Killing machines, don't believe my eyes. Late at night I can hear them cry. I don't believe in violence. Women are scared at night. There's abduction, rape, and they're filled with fright. Keep on running till you find the light. I don't believe in violence. Living in landlord shacks, getting warm by burning trash. In need of food, they steal for cash. I don't believe in violence. Martin said, do not kill. I don't want dead bodies in landfills. Committing violence is not God's will. I don't believe in violence. Committing violence is not God's will. I don't believe in violence. Committing violence is not God's will. I don't believe in violence.
Very powerful song. I think it takes on even more meaning knowing that there are those student thoughts and the co-authorship of the students behind that. So. It was
very powerful just to be a part of that experience, because a lot of these students, I mean, Martin Luther King has been sort of trivialized in many respects by the dominant culture, and that's very dangerous to trivialize anybody as powerful as King. And when the students actually got down to read what he wrote and the life he led, they were very, very moved by the courage of this individual. I think it's very important that as we celebrate Martin Luther King, that I would think it's be almost mandatory that the students really read what he wrote and to go through his speeches in depth, because obviously in the midst of a war, when you read these thoughts of nonviolence, it becomes something that brings across a lot of discussion. And it deals a lot with values.
Also, I think an important tie-in and a contrast between the start of the Persian Gulf War and Martin Luther King's birthday and and studying them, I think it's a good way to put the two together and see that nonviolence is certainly an alternative too. It was too easy to get caught up in the media reports and see what was happening.
I had
over
children
Persian
that I
Gulf.
was teaching at that time that had these horrible dreams. What adults often forget is that children really do have the intuitive abilities, and their dreams are for the whole world. And when they saw the smart bombs that were coming through Baghdad, I had children come with tears, said they had a dream last night of the bombs entering their home. And it's very personalized with children, and it's important that be discussed as adults with children and what that means.
Another project you worked on with students was over in Ladysmith, Wisconsin, and the song was called "Living in a Factory Town." Could you describe how you came about that, and what the kids kind of did I guess a self-study of their own environment, of their own culture right in that town?
In Ladysmith area, there's the Flambeau River, and it's very pristine and it's very beautiful. It'd be a nice area to settle, but it's like in many rural areas. It's low income, and people really have to struggle to make a living. And what the children wrote about was actually, I had them write from the point of view of their parents as being working people, primarily blue collar area. And what they ended up writing about was the Flambeau River and the concern for the environment. And they dealt with issues of lumbering in the area and also a potential copper mine. And they really dealt with it straight on in a very forthright way, and it was a very powerful song in a local sense, like this song, "I Don't Believe in Violence," is in a larger universal sense.
Another way that music, I think, is brought out and is to show some of the individual people in a culture. And I guess at Wabasso, Minnesota, that you brought in somebody that had been in the town for a number of years, and he told the story to the kids, and the kids wrote a song about that person.
Well, that was a wonderful experience, and I often do that when I go in for school residencies. Is I request that an elder will come in and speak, and Gerald Johannek, kind of a Bojangles character of the Scandinavian and German community, and he came in bib overalls and his cane, leaned on it, and gave his life story, and the students took notes and wrote a tribute for him. And then we have, at all these school residencies, we perform the songs for the entire community. So Gerald came and we had him stand and we honored him, and they sang the song for him, and it was very emotional. It's really, if I would say, in terms of this kind of work with youth, when they honor their own people in that way, there's nothing like it in the whole world. It's great.
Well, an extension of that, even to a national extent, was when you went down a number of years or several years ago to Oklahoma and started working with the people in Oklahoma to kind of memorialize the songs and the life of Woody Guthrie. And you went down and worked with a number of kids there for 4 years, I believe.
Well, I was invited to sing at a Woody Guthrie tribute, and in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I sang there, I was singing songs of Woody, but also I write songs in that tradition, and it's a very ancient tradition that actually predates Woody Guthrie. The tradition of the troubadour, where you're out really to gather the stories of the people, and it's not for money. We have to live in this profession, but it's to really carry the news. And when I got to Oklahoma, it was again one of these examples of the children weren't being taught about Woody. They knew about Will Rogers, but not about Woody Guthrie. So I kind of took it on as a personal mission to circle the state, and through the arts program there and the humanities and the library systems, they sent me around the state. And so for a 4-year period, I circled Oklahoma, and then I eventually came into Okemah, where Woody was born, and worked with the children there. And before we knew it, we had a big tribute for him at the Crystal Theater, and it was the first tribute ever for him in that town. We put out a record called "It Takes a Lot of People," where the children are singing their own songs that they wrote in that tradition, plus works by Woody. Again, that was another extremely moving experience.
Could you sing that, the title song, I guess, because it did come out as a whole collection of songs on an album.
I have to change my harmonica here. For those who don't know about harmonicas, they all come in different keys, and so the last harp, that was in the key of C, this is in the key of D. But I'll be cross-harping on this. the other one, it was just straight ahead, but this would be a cross harp. But I wrote this song actually with children outside of Okemah in a farming community, and I had the children go home and talk to their parents about what kind of work they do. There's been actually hundreds of verses written to this song. I'll just sing a few of them though.
Well, I wish we had time for all hundreds, but...
People work in the field, growing food, yes, hope they always will. Driving tractors with big rolling wheels. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round and round and round. Some are thin, some are small, some are big, some are tall. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. Some people work as a nurse, changing bedpans. How could life be worse? Keeping other people from riding in a hearse. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round and round and round. Some are thin, some are small, some are big, some are tall. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. Some people work building cars, changing transmissions beneath the stars. Thinking to themselves, isn't life bizarre? It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round and round and round. Some are thin, some are small, some are big, some are tall. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. German, others Portuguese, some are Russian, others Iraqi. Choctaw Creek, Anishinaabe. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round and round and round. Some are thin, some are small, some are big, some are tall. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round. It takes a lot of people to make this world go round and round and round.
Great. I think that really captures the spirit and the essence of Woody Guthrie. He really captured the spirit, I think, of America in the 30s and 40s when he was writing a lot of his music. And unfortunately for Woody, I think he was also stereotyped as someone who sang protest songs, and that's what maybe...
I've never liked the word really protest because when people gather democratically, as it is anywhere in the world, they gather to affirm values. And I think in many ways we have to be careful of the words that the dominant culture has given us. Woody Guthrie sang to affirm the values of the people. He said, I'm just singing things that people know already. He was affirming those things he saw that were really good about being an American and being a world citizen. And so it was affirming.
But I think that some of that stereotype, though, played over, and that there was an adverse reaction by some
Actually,
folks
the very
in Oklahoma.
same people who have coined that word protest, and as though it's negative for people to gather to voice their concerns, are some of the same people that opposed Woody. It was difficult. There were a few people that really didn't want to celebrate him there, but what was quite wonderful is that I mean, even as we see the world changing now, is that people's beliefs can change, and some of the people who opposed it, once we had the celebration, they came out really in favor of it and shook my hand and thanked me. So.
Well, again, I think the music is so powerful that once they hear it and listen to it, it rises above the stereotypes, rises above the perceptions, and hopefully that made it successmal. I understand the collection came out in 1989, and that's when you did the concert, and you're going back then.
I still teach there. I'm an artist in residence through the state of Minnesota and also in the state of Oklahoma. So they have me down there about 6 weeks every year. I'll be returning to that area and teaching, and I actually have a new record coming out that's including a few more songs I wrote with students in Oklahoma, plus songs I wrote with students here in Minnesota.
Now you also tour around Minnesota to a lot of libraries, and you've done a lot of work with public libraries and school libraries and schools throughout Minnesota. Why don't you detail some of the projects you've done there? I guess you have been with the Minnesota Chautauqua program, with its folk artists and historians and people going around and giving a little bit of heritage of the state and providing it a lot through music to the students and getting them involved that way.
Yeah, I've been traveling through Minnesota libraries now for about 5 years through the Minnesota Chautauqua program that's supported through the humanities, and right now we're doing. We've hit about 50 libraries in the state of Minnesota, and next year we'll probably hit 50 more. And we're doing, actually, I sing songs from the 19th century. I sing a lot of songs from the suffrage movement, and I like Lift Every Voice and Sing. That follows a speech by Frederick Douglass, and so it's all historically based and fairly academic, and it's a very wonderful program. I traveled with three really good scholars and actors.
And you wrote a song about libraries called "Give Us Wings, Give Us Books," and didn't give you much of an introduction here, but maybe you can quick get into that.
I'll just jump right into it. I wrote this with actually adults, with librarians down in the state of Oklahoma, and I use the same process as I work with children. It goes like this.
Okay.
What would it be like if we had no libraries? What would it be like if we had no dreams to dream? What would it be like if we had no books to read? What would it be like if we only had TV? Give us books, give us wings, give us songs we can sing. What would it be like if we had no new ideas? What would it be like if we had no heritage? What would it be like if we had no hope to give? What would it be like for the future of our kids? Give us books, give us wings, give us songs we can sing. What would it be like if the last became first? If all of the children now dying of thirst were filled with the wonder of the printed word? What would it be like if their voices could be heard? Give us books, give us wings, give us songs we can sing. Give us books, give us wings, give us songs we can sing. Give us books, give us wings, give us songs we can sing.
Great. Of course, that sounds powerful too, with a lot of kids answering back in the refrain. I know that was intention of the song too, is to get an interaction.
And the song was written actually in the state of Oklahoma, like in many areas, with the shortage of money. Quite often the libraries are getting cut, and there's thousands and thousands of young people out through the state of Oklahoma and actually throughout this country that do not have a library service. And the song was written with that intent and that concern from the librarian, saying, you know, this is important. Libraries are important, books are, and so that's where that came from.
Good. Well, your efforts in working with libraries are greatly appreciated. You've also done a lot of work environmentally too. In 1981, you started the Mississippi River Revival, which focused on music celebrating the river and also on awareness of issues affecting the river, pollution and clean water. And Labor Day of 1991, you teamed together with the American Indian Movement and created a festival, a 3-day festival with combined music and ecological awareness called the Two Rivers Cultural Explosion. Tell us real briefly about that and how successful that was and what brought all that together.
Well, we just decided that we wanted to join with other organizations. Also, the city of St. Paul was part of that coalition, and we got support from a lot of environmental groups in the city of Minneapolis. Even the police department, through their youth projects, came and helped out. It was a very diverse coalition of people to celebrate the two rivers, the Minnesota and the Mississippi. And it actually kicked off in the summer where young people through the Peacemaker Center on the south side of Minneapolis canoed from Lake Itasca all the way into the festival site. It was like a 30-day trip, 530 river miles, and they were teenagers, and they canoed all the way down, and they took water samples. And so it was actually really started at the 1st of August, and then it moved into our event where we had 3 days of powwow, traditional dancing, and then in the evening we had 3 nights of concerts. There was a youth area there, a graffiti wall where young people came and participated and discussed their future in the inner city, and also youth who came from the suburbs, and tried to find ways that they can work together because, I mean, as we all know, there's a great deal of violence on the streets, and so
well, I hope you can continue those efforts as well as the efforts with libraries, and especially with kids. I think you just have a very good rapport with kids. You're obviously making music an important part of their life and bringing about a lot of cultural values and things too. We have to go. I wish we could sit here and listen to some more of your fine music and everything. We'll have to have you back, and I encourage everybody to look for Larry Long as he does concerts. Thanks for being here today, Larry.
Thank you.
Give us books, give us wings, give us songs we can sing.
Thank you, Dave Carlson from the Hennepin County Library and Larry Long for a delightful interview on All About Kids. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Please tune in again.
This has been a presentation of Hennepin County Library in conjunction with the Twin Cities Metropolitan Library Service Agency. We thank you for watching, and we hope you visit your public library often.